Hey everybody! Woo! Made it! And I'm so glad you're here as well. Let me reduce some windows here and get back to the YouTube side of the operations because things are a little bit crowded on my desktop, and I don't mean the surface. I mean, obviously, what I'm trying to do here while I keep track of the stream on the YouTube side, as well as my streaming software. So good to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. I know that this may be an extremely busy time for many of you, but I do appreciate you hopping on, even though I may just serve as white noise. I'm good at that. Blah, 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 blah. 1 hour later. Wow, look at how time flies. Roby, good to see you. And Sandy, Don Miguel, hola jefe. And Robert, my wingman, how are you all today? Wow, okay, well, I'm swimming. The rain in Spain falls mainly down here on the Costa del Sol. Right, let me get the next window up and running because we have quite the travels ahead of us. And I would like to introduce you to something that maybe you haven't seen before. And just have a look-see because I picked this one for us today because of the way that it has such beautifully, well, let me rephrase that. It was beautifully renamed. Let me rephrase that again. The name and how it came about was just different and inspired. This is a new species from the Guiana Highlands, and we're going to go there soon with Google Earth. I just wanted you to see the candidate we're talking about because I don't have multiple screens that I can play with to show you everything in one go. And we'll get to the name of this one soon. But the Highlands are over there in the fantastic, like a shield volcano, old volcano thing in South America. And this species was discovered by Mateusz Wrasidlo. Now, Wrasidlo is from Poland, and he, well, I wonder, first of all, before I get ahead of myself, because this is something I don't know. Many of you experts out there will probably, hey, FFF in the house, Portugal. Hello, it's good to see you. My backstroke is going great, except for a locked left shoulder. So I go in circles. I can use my right arm, no problem. And I go in circles. Story of my life. But this in your eyes as experts, you would probably, I wonder what you would think it is, because I had certain, when I saw this the first time, I was trying not to read ahead in the article when I was wondering if someone in the chat would recognize this and say very clearly what it is, but I was in two minds. Anyway, I'm not going to wait for the 12-15 second lag. But this is a new Epidendrum species. And when I then saw the name, I was like, yeah, duh, because there's so much of ciliare in this lip as well. So I was wondering, is this like a miniature Coilostylus? But let me just show you the terrain that we talk about when we do talk about terrain. Did I just miss that window? You see, it's like a tabletop mountain out there in South America, and I'm going to have to change my Google Earth. While you relish in this beautiful view, I'm going to go to my Google Earth and go straight away to that location so that we don't diddle around too much. Let me get there, because I was already in Ronda. That's our next destination tonight. We're going to be heading to Ronda. But first of all, we need to see the location of these Guiana Highlands in Venezuela. Well, it's also like, you know, there's a whole shield volcano there. It spans even all the way to Brazil. But let me get this right. First of all, for me, it looked like the tabletop. And I think it's fabulous. And we'll get to the name of what it is, how it was named. Just make sure I don't get myself all dizzied up here. There we go. First of all, we're going to stop that window. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but soon, I promise, soon. It's just there's a lot of screens to begin with because I don't have any other insight and additional information apart from the images. Here's another view from it. And then here is the dissected and how they identified it and documented it. But let me read the article for you. On an expedition in the Tepuis, and that is a sprouting rock in the native language, that landscape of the Guiana Highlands in South America, Mateus Brasillo snapped a photo of an orchid he had never seen before. So, back in the herbarium, he placed it around and took it apart, and then his colleague, orchid expert Eric Hagsater, determined it was a species new to science. But they did cartwheels around that herbarium. Our new species is another beautiful looking member of the Epidendrum family, but in my humble opinion, it's not the looks that make it special. It is the name it was given, and that is precisely what we are here to discuss today. Let me show you the whole plant, if I can. I didn't take that picture down, so what we're going to do is share the article, because we can do that so that you can see the whole plant. I didn't want to bore you with text. We are in Chrome tab. Are you with me? There we go. No, that's not it. That's it. Hey, there we go. The land that time forgot. Definitely. Definitely. It was 12 minutes, 8 minutes ago you came on YouTube. Okay. I'm not sure what, how to understand that, Sandy. If you need something that I can clarify. Anyway, so you can see how the plant itself looks. Spiddly little thing, hey? But now it makes a lot of sense when you see a reed stem epidendrum. It looks somewhat like this with a very, very extended flower spikes and then lots and lots of blooms at the top. To my understanding, she is not fragrant, but now you can also see in the text it's Epidendrum katarun-yariku. Good, hey? Each flower is about 5 millimeters, and that would be 0.2 inches. And of course, the image is courtesy of Mateus Brasillo. This article is in the description of this live. Now, there you go. This reminds me a little bit of some of the territory and the terrain in Kenya. There is an area that looks very, very similar, but I suppose in that part of the world, they would call it the Pampas. Anyway, so all species names consist of two parts. We went through that in another stream. The first part is the genus, blah-de-blah. The second part is the specific name, which is typically chosen by a person who found the species. We also went through that part. Now, often the second name is based on a Latin word that describes the species or is a name selected to honor a personal hero. But Brasillo decided to take a different approach. I thought it would be a nice gesture to ask my indigenous friends for their opinion and include them in the naming process, selecting a name in their indigenous language instead of Latin. Brasillo deserves a round of applause, in my opinion. I'm all for people that support not just the habitat, but don't walk away afterwards with knowledge and claim it as their own, slapping on a name that really bears no relevance with who has been harboring and cultivating and taking care of the surroundings for millennia. Honestly, this man deserves an orchid medal, in my opinion. So, Calio Eliman and his family members of the Pemon-Arecuna community of Parayuma were asked to name the flower. After some deliberation, they chose the name Epidendrum katarun-yariku. In the indigenous Pemon-Arecuna language, katarun means high, and yariku means flower. So high flower was chosen because this species has been found only on the summits in the upper foothills of the tepuis. Now, there are more tepuis, being just, top of the mountain up there. So it's this one tepuis is called Ake, Pemon-Arecuna. There we go. The new orchid is believed to live within an area of less than 20,000 square kilometers, 7,722 square miles, seeing as it's right in front of me. and it meets the criteria to be considered vulnerable to extinction under the IUCN Red List. Up to 80% of the flora of the tepuis, an area where around 1/4 of the species are endemic, are threatened with extinction. Kalio Eleman, that's the gentleman we just mentioned, together with his family helped choose the indigenous name. Isn't that so cool? And look at that landscape. Ooh. Look at all that foliage. I bet a lot of botanists just looking at this picture are salivating, weeping with joys at what they can see and what we even can't see. All the creatures and cretins that are benefiting from all that debris down there. Ah, that just looks like heaven to me. I'm not sure my hip would be able to take that, but dang. Mad respect to Brazidlo and to Kalio Eliman. What a team. I think that speaks volumes. And this orchid has had the honor of being actually recognized for where it is and not who found it or a personal hero. Anyway, Brazidlo says his own heritage inspired him to ask the Pemon Arecuna community to name the new species found near their territory. Brazidlo himself is from Upper Silesia, and that is a region that now lies mostly within Poland, but maintains its distinct culture and traditionally uses a separate language. So the traditions and language of his culture have become more diluted with each generation, and language carries power, and Brazidlo advocates for the decolonizing science nomenclature and giving more representation to indigenous and local languages. I am like, give this man an orchid medal. Oh, for an indigenous community or town that sees an orchid flower, it will always have its indigenous name, but seeing it accompanied by a scientific name will make them even happier. And that is from Antonia Hitcher, a member of the Pemon Caramacoto tribe from Canaima in Venezuela. Oh gosh. Just as the scientific community has a name for everything, the locals in their geographical spaces have given everything a name. So the Guiana Highlands are a unique plateau and low mountain region in the north of parts of South America. Let's go there. Let us go there. Let's take a ride. Let me get our private jet going here. Nothing nicer than on a rainy Spanish night as to go to a private jet and off to the Guiana Shield. Okay, so here we are. Make sure that I've got all my throttles. We don't want to crash land. We want to make sure we get down there safely and have a little bit of a snoop around. I know that from having looked at it previously, yes, I know I cheated. As the tour guide, I thought I better, get my intel up to date with regards to this area. There is no street view down there, but we're going to go in as close as possible. So here we have the Guiana Shield. All the highlands about Guiana is everything around here. And you see tepuis, that's all a mountain. Now, to my understanding, our specific orchid is more over here. We're still here, and maybe I need to zoom out a little bit more because the speckles start to look very, very similar, as you can tell. Look at that. You're supposed to find an orchid in that? Good luck to you. I wouldn't. So we have our shield here, and maybe I'm already too far out and we just need to go to the right side of that shield. Let me type in where we really want to go before I make everybody dizzy, because I was there before. I was there very, very early in the day, and now we're going to try and go there again. If you can just hold on, fasten your seatbelts, because if this works, it's going to work well. Let's go to Arkenua Puis. My Google Earth doesn't remember it. There we go. I guess we were right in the first place. Sorry, GPS. That's typical women. Don't trust the GPS. At least I don't. So I was trying to find where possibly they would be hiking with the planes and everything, but I was not able to do so. We can try and go into 3D. Yeah, all we see is that cliff face. There's not really much else to see here. But I am fascinated by these things, and I hope that this was worth your while to pop in. Check out this ridge light right here. My word, what a hike. Oh, hell, we've got a base here. Check that out. From here, off you go and up. And then you come to a cliff face. Yeah, I love this. I absolutely love this. Let me see. I'm still here. Joy! Hello! How are you? I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello? Please let me know in the chat. Throw me a 1, something. I'm just seeing that you can't hear me. Oh my goodness. That would be awful. I may need to fill in the blank with text. Joy, it is so good to see you, number 5. Look at this, Intel. We keep turning the pages. Okay, there we go. That is where we are right now. So what we're going to do is take a ride, buckle up, buckle your seatbelts. Let me check the chat. There's some people I can see, some people I can't, and I'm wondering if you can hear me. Oh. Don't tell me. My Wi-Fi is up. The stream is not dropping any frames. I will pretend that everything is hunky-dory. Okay, let's go to, where are we? Let's go to Ronda. I know my way about there. Let's see if they'll pick the right Ronda. Let's see if it does it automatically. Whee! Sorry if anybody is travel sick. I can see a name it popping up. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. And here we are. All right. Anybody needed their little bags? Everybody still with me? Anybody fall out of their seats? It's good to see you. I can tell you that after seeing this today, we have a lot of content for our live streams. I don't know how interested you are with this neighborhood. For me to go into detail, talk about things not always orchid related, apart from my hunting grounds in Kenya. But here we are in southern Spain. My location is right down here in Estepona. That is part of the Costa del Sol. And we are going to Ronda. Well, a teeny weeny tiny bit southeast, southwest, northwest, depending on how this globe is going to tilt the moment I take us there. So before I get into how we get to Ronda, we are heading over here. This is a stop it. Ooh, apple mice are sensitive. This is a fantastic location. It is so, so beautiful in its landscape. Will you do what I'm asking you to? It is absolutely beautiful. Let me take you to a road that will have, to my understanding, it better still have the 3Ds. This is the whole area of the orchids we're going to be looking at just in pictures today. But the Grazalema here is all the place where these wild orchids will be. And I'm hoping, seriously hoping, that this is the road that I found earlier in which we can venture. Oh, thank you so much. Let's go down, buckle up, and look around. Woohoo! All right. This all looks so familiar to me. This is in my neck of the woods. It's approximately a 3-hour drive, and I haven't been there for ages. Now, this specific road does not lead to Seville, but the connecting road does. And this road, for example, is a very typical road in southern Andalucia that hasn't been absolutely developed yet. I remember the road from San Pedro, from the coast all the way up to Ronda, looking like this, and it's a steep drop to the right, and this is your barrier. You're welcome. Welcome when you see a truck. It's a little bit spooky, and I mean, the whole thing here is another cliff face. There has to be something with orchids and cliff faces, right? But this is like the way into the park, the national park. You don't have to go there. Orchids themselves do not understand these kind of boundaries. So we'll just follow along this road. There are no rainbows here today. I am sorry. That was a very beautiful, beautiful video by Fernanda Nacimiento Orchids and Succulents. There are no rainbows, but you can see that the terrain is extremely rugged. There's a lot of lime rock, limestones, and we can go on and find our way all across the mountainside this way and go all the way around, and then eventually get up to what they would consider the tourist area. It's got a lookout point. You're going to take us out. Sorry for that. Should have warned you. Seatbelts on. We're going up. We're going up. There's also hot air balloon rides and everything up in this region. It is just absolutely beautiful. So you see the size of that ridge. Whew. If you're afraid of heights, yeah, be careful. Anyway, gorgeous area. There are little ventas, little places to stop and have a little tapa all the way around here. It's not exactly touristy, but anybody that is into, you know, native plants and wildlife and all that business, there's a lot of boar, deer, and a lot of our game comes from this area because many of these areas are owned, like this land has been divided up not just from government, so the Junta Andalucia claims the land, makes it a national park, but there's a lot of fincas down here, farm lands. This is a beautiful dam which was completely empty. Now it is starting to fill up, which is nice, but there's a lot of fincas here that are also responsible for keeping livestock in check or game in check. So they get to have license to hunt XYZ numbers of deer and boar and all that fun stuff that then comes down to our restaurants on the Costa del Sol. And it seems like things are just as expensive here now as they are elsewhere, even though it's just from around the corner. I went to the grocery store today and I thought, no, I don't need any tomatoes. I will grow my own come summer. Insane. And our tomatoes are grown 3 hours away up the coast. Incredible what the price hike has been. And I know that that's not just here in Spain, it's worldwide. So anyway, I don't want to be a party pooper. Let's look at some pictures before, now we've got the terrain a little bit assessed, before we then have another look at this area, and then we'll go to Ronda and do some sightseeing if you want to join me for that. Because Ronda, yes, they always talk about the Romans and they talk about the Bedouins and they talk about the rise and fall of the Arabian kingdom around Cordoba, but it started out as a Celtic town. Back then it was the Celts that settled it. So, not that I'm a history buff, I just happen to have had picked up on a teeny tiny bit in my past while living in Spain, not because I thought I needed to really discover it and find out, except I did read Hemingway because I wanted to understand the culture of bullfighting. I didn't want to come in with a mindset that was like, you know, judgmental, let's just say it like that. I didn't want to come in with that mindset, and in order to understand it from another culture's perspective and not dive into the Spanish perspective because I wasn't getting it, Hemingway helped me understand what the whole thing about bullfighting is about. So, you know, it's just by chance I know certain things about my neighborhood, not because I thought I'm going to have to just dive in and understand and get to know everything. So that's my little, let's say, you know, keeping it real. Yes, you are. Everybody in their helicopter, but now we're just going to go to ground zero here because I just want to show you some pictures of what actually grows in the area that we just saw and surrounds. And thankfully, this webpage is Wild Andalucia is also linked in the description of this stream in case you want to look at it yourself in your own time. But I saw a lot of orchids here that were very familiar to the eye. So we have a lot of Ophrys, like the Alpujarra here. We have more as we go down the list. Now, I have never seen the two-leaved Genaria here. Never seen that. And I don't know if that one is in bud. It doesn't say. It's not like you can click on the cards for more information. I don't know if that's in bud or if it just happens to have green blooms. I can't even enlarge the card, so I hope that you can see the pictures nicely. And this one was kind of cute. It's another of rice, deer rice, with a little bit of a fuzzy lip there. So they're very inconspicuous to begin with, but as we scroll down, we start to come into some of the orchids that are not, let's say, exclusive to southern Spain. The Orchidea piramidas, there we go. I mean, for anybody, I mean, that looks like a beautiful little bulb kind of an orchid, you know, like a summer bulb that you put into the ground, tulip kind of thing. For me, it resembles like a hyacinth. Very, very beautiful. I love the colors. And then the early purple orchid here, that to me doesn't look like something that doesn't grow elsewhere. It seems to be quite the popular species, in my opinion. But what I also thought was super interesting to see the Orchidea gigante here, the Barlia robertiana, because this one also grows in the UK. And you can see the rocky background there with a little bit of shrub, and I don't know if that's like a moss growing back there, I don't know. But this giant orchid also grows in the UK, and they call it giant orchid because it's not like it's huge in its span of the leaves, but the flower spike, about 3 to 4 feet tall, maybe a meter and a half, around about there. Very, very beautiful. And when I saw that, I thought, well, hey, you see, we are not alone. We don't have exclusivity. These things have been growing elsewhere, and only just recently discovered in the UK again, by the way, just as a side note. I love this next one here, the lizard orchid, Orchidea del Lagarto. And if you want to not go with the native, it's Himantoglossum hircinum. Isn't that cool? I suppose because of the way, if that the petals, I would say maybe the petal is sticking out, like it's the lip. Now that I look at it closer, it's the lip that's sticking out like that. Looks like a pine cone. Super interesting. And then look at this. We have the Solopax picta as well, the bumblebee orchid. I would never, ever have expected to see that one as a native to southern Andalucia. Flor de abeja, very, very well translated. The flower of the bumblebee, that is so cool. So she grows not far from where I'm at. And then we have this one here as well. I would say, you know, or Ophrys, I don't want to say the wrong word because as a dyslexic person, I do tend to add letters into my words, and that would be a little bit awkward in this case. But isn't that cute? I have no intention of growing these on the patio in case that would be anybody's question. And oh, by the way, if you're new to this stream and you're watching for the first time, I am not here just to babble away. If at any stage in time you want to come up, join me on the panel. You have more information about the orchids I'm showing here because we're just checking the pictures out so that we understand the area and la-di-da. If you know more about them, please let me know in the comments, in the chat, and I'll drop you a link. This is interactive after all. Fernanda, buzzing around. One is in a helicopter and the other one's on the bumblebees. That's so cute. But yeah, here we have another Ophrys. Flor de avispa. Avispa is a vesp in English. So cool. Amazing. The man orchid. Okay. If we go sideways, what are we supposed to see here? But maybe it is the, you know, there's a naked man. I like this one. She's also very understated, very elegant, conical orchid. Very, very cute. Here we have one that is called Ojera de Espejo, mirror. Espejo is mirror. Another Ophrys. Get your names right. And here's another one. I think the bumblebee one seems to be more popular because of how much color she has, because these are pretty inconspicuous. Here's another bumblebee Ophrys, but not as fuzzy. Cool. We've got a yellow ophrys, abejera amarilla. You know what is so unusual for me to see all these names in Spanish? This is beautiful. This one is translated from the Spanish, Orquídea de hojas largas. Very, very authentic, very unique name. The orchid with the long leaves. Very good imagination there, keeping it simple. Why not? And then we have gallos, small flowered serapias. Okay. And you see how many there are? Champagne orchid. That's right up my alley here. And even the Latin is Orchis champenosi. Cool. There we go. I didn't know that a champagne orchid existed. Another ophrys. Another ophrys, told you. They're very, very popular up there. And here, now I get it. Okay, so we have a man orchid that was still in bud up there. And I was kind of wondering, are they talking about the naked man? Flor de los hombrecitos. That's the polite way of translating the naked man. If that translates directly, it's the little man, flower of the little man, or the little men, plural. I like this one as well, the violet limodoro, and the pink butterfly. Isn't she beautiful? That is amazing. We're not done yet. Look at that. All of that is up there, can be found. Incredible. Orquídea pobre. Poor little thing. In Spanish, it got the name poor orchid. Let me check the comments if I'm scrolling fast and I get the lag. Isn't it wonderful, Fernanda? I know. I would have never have thought. Okay, so here we go, the little poor orchid. Oh, she looks a little bit sad, doesn't she? Orquídea de los arroyos. Arroyos is like they say here a marsh. Yes, marsh, creek, anything small that carries a lot of water. And maybe you don't even see the water because all the shrubbery actually grows over it. So Orquídea de los arroyos, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Marsh, I would more say like little creek style. Look at this, isn't she beautiful? Incubacea. Now, I wonder if this ophrys is the one, the most noble of them all, because she sure has a beautiful shape. And the way she opens up her skirts, it's like two little hands holding her lip open to open up the skirt. And then we have the little small yellow orchid. That's also a very original name. I wonder how they came about with that one. And this one caught my eye. She is beautiful. So these are the orchids of the Sierra de Grazalema, and the Sierra de Grazalema is a natural park, together with other territories of the Serrania de Ronda. Come on, here we go. All right. And the Sierra de las Nieves National Park. So it's a huge area, which I can somewhat discern from where I'm at the coast, but I only see, the first beginnings of the Highlands. And Sierra de las Nieves pretty much gives it away. It snows up there on occasions, and when it snows, it's pretty bad up there, because even though they have, let's say, this kind of climate every once in a while, the cars are not exactly geared up for that. So it's not like they are forced to put on winter tires. It gets a bit dicey, and I'm not one to venture up into those regions with my car, simply because a snowstorm can pretty much come out of nowhere. And if it's not a snowstorm, a cold front can hit one night, even as you're heading down the mountain, and it'll freeze the roads. It's very dangerous, even though now the road is beautifully done, double lane with overtaking lanes, none of that scary thing I just showed you just now. So these are amongst the most renowned areas to find orchids in southern Spain. A naturalist will be delighted to find Barlia robertiana in full flower by Christmas. Sorry, we're not going. Whereas the main orchid season expands to late June. So the best months to look for wild orchids in Andalucia by order: April, May, whoa, we didn't want to click that off. April, May, March, February, and June by order. Now, my mind tells me that February comes by order. Okay. maybe that was just a bad translation there. And one species can be found in January and one in July and one in November. So pretty much, if you know what you're looking for, the whole year up there, something is going to be in bloom. There are 37 species in the Ronda Grazalema area. That is incredible, which represents half of the orchids in southern Spain, 63 species here in total. And here we go, up to 22 species are in bloom in February, guess in order. There we go, 32 in March, 30 in May. Now those are beautiful months. May is a beautiful month to go up there, at least the temperatures are mild. It gets blisteringly hot up there, worse than on the coast, clearly because we have the benefit of all that beautiful breeze coming in from the Med. So I have not ventured out to hunt orchids at this point in time. Probably 2023 is not going to be a good time either. We'll have to wait and see, but it sure is tempting, I would say. Now, let's go back, if you're so inclined to join me. Buckle up the seatbelts, and I can close one window down and clean up my desk so that I can see the YouTube side of the operations. We can take our South American friends away, and that away. Oh, what a relief. I'm so scared of clicking on an X and poof, you're gone. May I just have a sip of water, please? One moment. I hope you don't hear me swallowing. Right, here we are, back in our neighborhood. Okay, oops, I need this window. I need this window. I still have too many windows open. Come on, Nina, clean up. There we go. Right, here we go. So, we're going to go all the way out, and we're going to keep our eye on Ronda off to the right. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I said keep an eye on Ronda. I'm not even minding my own rules here. And where did it go? Come on, come on. Did my map tilt again? It did, didn't it? Madre mia, por favor. It did. You see, I have a certain thing going on in my head. I need things to be straight. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Let's see if we can't straighten the map out again. Because this would just, oh, thank you. This would just drive me nuts otherwise. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go out. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, your little bags are in the front. Please put your desks up. Wrong window. There we go. Okay, so I'm down here. And what we can do, once we get in a little bit closer, I'll take you up the road, just aerial-wise, so you can understand how the foothills, how quickly they start in my neighborhood. So all of this would not exactly be our national park, but pretty close, because who's to say that back here and down here, we haven't got similar kind of climate and condition. It just gets a little bit more salty in the air right here. So from here, I would have to go, not the highway. I don't like the highway, which is a pretty drive, by the way, but we would go all the way to San Pedro, which is right here. And from San Pedro, we start to go up a road that will take us into the mountains. Benavides is a fabulous little cul-de-sac. Don't go up that road. You won't come back out. But this is a fabulous way of getting to Ronda. I'm distracted by all the golf courses. Forgive me. We're also called Costa del Golf for a reason. Now, here's the windy road. All this as we go up and up and up and up into Ronda. It is pretty precarious when you think back of how our entire infrastructure here used to be. It used to be that single lane that I showed you, and now it is a beautifully built out, proper road, also with possibilities of overtaking and having little stops, because Going up is very difficult. Coming down is a breeze as per normal. But beautiful vistas going up all the way around. And the higher you go, obviously, look at those twists and turns. Imagine doing that on a single lane and hello, here comes a truck. But yeah, as the higher you go, if you look in the rearview mirror, it becomes even more distracting because the Med starts to open up and you can look all the way to Gibraltar and Africa. This is a place where I usually get a lot of water. My RO system packs up again. Trust me, this is where I will be going with my containers, not my buckets, because they'll slosh around in the back of my car. But you can also get beautiful fresh spring water right here. It is still allowed. I wonder for how long. A lot of people park there and get fresh spring water. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. So you can imagine, here we go. Here's a section. There's one section up here and there's one section down here of how the road used to be. Oh my goodness, when I look at that. I remember having my children in the back seat when we went on excursions to Ronda, or we went to their nanny's house, which is in Arcos de la Frontera. Yeah, this was the road. And this would be an arroyo, everything underneath, what they called that one, Orchid, arroyo, like the little marsh. But it's actually little valleys of, you know, fresh water coming down. Oh boy. What a difference. Yeah, and then you got a truck like this and you got roads like this. That was awesome. Trust me, it's not just because the road was nicely done up that we get these big trucks. They were there when the road was teeny tiny and with very tight corners. Here's another stop, more for fresh water. So you see, this whole road up here is windy, 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 and can make you a little bit car sick if you feel like it's just a little bit of a tight squeeze. But then eventually it evens out once you get around this corner here and you come up against the ridge. Here we are with the same landscape as we saw in our national park there earlier. And eventually it starts to straighten out and you come up to the plateau, which is pretty much the plateau which on the same level as Ronda. And this is where you kind of breathe a sigh of relief. A, the monotony isn't there, and B, you can stop, you can relax your eyes a little bit. And then you come up here and it gets colder and colder. You're still going up, but at least you've got straighter roads. Such a blessing after all that windy business before. Fantastic landscape. It becomes a little bit more rugged. And then let me make sure we reach our city of Ronda. There we go. We have arrived. Now that I've got Ronda in my sights because my plane is steady and level again, there's Ronda, and here's the national park. Sierra de las Nieves goes all the way around. Like I said, it does snow in Ronda. Now with all the rains that we've had recently, what I'm about to show you, we're going to go to the medieval part of the town. We'll get back to the orchids afterwards if you're wondering what on earth is going on. But if you're not interested and sort of tapping out now, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it very, very much. Look, this is the old part of town right here. Let's get down there and let's have a proper look. Let me get you to the arch. And we'll go down into that arch shortly. And so this is the main plaza. We can say it's the very touristy plaza, but yeah, pretty much the oldest part of Ronda that has been done up because it is extremely popular with the tourists. Now, all this back here is new. Sorry, this part is not. This part belongs to part of the bull ring. All this is new because Spain has this whole network of hotels called paradors. And the paradors are state-owned, and they should be at a reasonable price for anybody. Yeah, not entirely true. Anyway, the state decided to build a hotel right here, which used to be a massive, massive open like a half arc. I'll show you back from the air, where people would gather and sit and have picnics and everything. And then you looked out over the view across from that, well, we're on a cliff right now, actually. And you can look left and right, as you can see how high up we are. Here's somebody waving, they saw the Google. Okay, so you see that at this stage, we are on a bridge that was built, to my understanding, it could be Roman, and then more of the Bedouins, and then the Arabs, whatever they built on it. But you can see how high we are up. And unfortunately, the Parador took quite a chunk, because you used to be able to go on public land all the way to the edge. Now they've taken most of that part, and we're, as a public, if you're not part of the hotel, you can sort of go around. They've left some form of foothills for us, like a foot network, like a pedestrian walkway, where we can actually go and still enjoy that, but it's not as lush anymore. You see, here's the Parador, and we can only get to here, whereas before this whole space was available and just a little bit of parking. And then, my mistake, here's the Parador, here's the foothills. But all this used to be public. This is the old part of Ronda, and I've queued in because here is the oldest bullfighting arena in Spain, called La Maestranza. I was working for a property developer once and in charge of actually looking at doing some of the whole marketing of this project. And we had 7 villas, and then there was one super duper massive villa, and I was in charge of calling all the villas different names. And I went and called every single villa by a famous opera house in the world. La Scala of Italy was one of them, the La Scala Opera House in Milan. And I called our biggest villa that we had La Maestranza, because that is exactly what she was. It was a massive villa, and I thought, being in Spain, La Maestranza just works, and this is what inspired me to do it, was this bull ring. You heard it here first. I don't think I ever told anybody where I got my ideas from. Best kept secret in the world. They didn't pay me enough, I don't think. But yeah, so this bull ring has a beautiful museum in it that you can visit. Let me see, I just saw a comment. 40 years ago, yeah, my goodness, Fernanda, the first time I came to Ronda, it was, let me think, let me just make it sort of like maybe 25 years ago was the first time I went to Ronda. And if we just zoom out a little bit, all of this back here, you see the spread of the city? All of this is new. You can pretty much see the cutoff line right here. Pretty much you can see where older buildings were. And then, boom, all of that, because you used to have to go through Ronda to get to the other side, to get to Seville. Now you can bypass Ronda with this outskirt road. It takes you right around Ronda. None of the traffic interferes down here. None of the traffic interferes with the city anymore. You can see how it's grown compared to there. That's where I used to hang out, park my car, let's walk. Do a lot of walking here in Spain. Well, I used to. Now I need a Zimmer frame. Anyway, we'll go back down, because there are points that I ventured to earlier. I just wanted to see how versatile my little man can be when he can take us down to places, whoa, through the mountain, so that we can be right here. Oh, and dip our toes. Weary journeys, huh? We dip our toes in the clean, fresh water, and somebody down there is with their water jug picking up clean, fresh water that we've just dipped our toes in. Anyway, don't tell people I do that, but yeah, no, this is, you would have to abseil to get down here. This is not a publicly easily accessed area, so it was wonderful that somebody actually did come down, because this is where we can also see, hello to whoever did that, thank you so much, but this is also where we can see where the arroyos come from, where they carve from. I tried to zoom in onto this sign to see if I could get any kind of what it says. I was very unsuccessful. That's the farthest I could go. But you can see, hello, I wasn't meant to do that, but I guess they knew better, because this is what I wanted to show you. That was totally by fluke. But you can see how the arroyo carves out the limestone bit by bit, and that is what's going on here, left and right. So there's only the river that goes through here. Then we have the first crossing that was done down here, but it didn't lead to much, and they just built and built and built until they got the two levels leveled out. Now this is approximately, without wanting to exaggerate, this is approximately 50 meters from the bottom to the top, to the bridge up there, 50 meters. Help me out with the conversion, unless I do that very, very quickly. Let's do this measurement conversion. Let's go 50. Let's do feet, not yards. 164 feet. That is quite a drop. Incredible. And what I saw with the pictures recently, because everything was dried out, and it's quite concerning because of the erosion that is going on. When things have been so dry for so long, we have a problem here. A lot of sediment, whoa, check this out. A lot of sediment gets lost the moment torrential rains come and fill this space. And this entire area is pouring like a waterfall style, literally pouring. Even to this level, it's pouring over. So there's a little bit of concern about the force of the water doing severe damage. Now, let me go back out a little bit more, because just like with Venice, Ronda is filled with what they call palacios, which are now either privately owned homes, people that don't really live there. They might visit there if lucky, if they're lucky. I mean, let's say if the homes are lucky, 2 weeks per year, and the others have then been turned into accommodations. Most of them now consider themselves luxury hotels, which is super annoying, because back in the day, maybe we would now call them Airbnb. They would be super sweet, really authentically done, everything really clean, and they were at Airbnb prices. Now, I wouldn't even think of, staying, but let's just say every little building, except for the little annex, that are annexes now from smaller buildings attached to bigger buildings, like this one right here, this is a palazzo. If we were in Venice, it would be Palazzo XYZ. Now, if this were a palazzo and accommodation, this is now a hotel, and it would probably be called Palacio XYZ or Villa XYZ, and named after the predominant, let's say, original owner. And Ronda is superbly recorded. And for that reason, all these authentic things that if you were to visit the town, they are in actual fact authentic, and they've done a fabulous job at restoration. And this property is just mouth-watering. This one, it would be another palazzo right here. And then what they've tried to do is make sure that at least the parks remain, because it is extremely tempting to be building for such valuable real estate on these lands right here. And you have a path that can take you down. I did that once upon a time. And check out this palazzo right here. Oh, here's another one. So now you can see how the infrastructure is set out. This is maybe a smaller one with its own little cafeteria outside. Here's another one. You see what I'm saying? Here come the wealthy magnates right here. Now this is a beautiful palazzo, and then here we have a convent that are still up and running. Let me see what Rowley says. How about orchid hunting in Banff and just go for slippers and all that? Oh gosh, yes. Yes, absolutely. I would be so game for that. So here we have a convent, and a lot of the monasteries and convents up in this area. Now, let's just say historically, the palazzos were there, and bit by bit, the town built itself into as backup, as servants, as quarters for the palazzos that are all around the ridge here. So these are the fancy people, and then all the workers had to, be back here. The convent in itself was always separate. This looks like maybe a school now. I don't know what that is. That looks brand new. But this convent is super, super old, still up and running, still maintaining its old traditions, and you can see its own little vegetable garden and food garden is still active. That's wonderful to see. So here we have, let's say, what they've done is also combined a lot of little buildings. So this itself is not a palazzo. Now it is probably something that, you know, should resemble a palazzo with its own little inner courtyard. But when you see the roof lines like this, that doesn't mean anything except that now they've combined it. Plus they've added a long annex. They're cheating. You can tell a lot by the roof lines. I studied architecture. So Google Earth for me is a godsend. Anyway, so yeah, back in the day, we had to come up this road from the Costa del Sol, come up the coast into this road, weave our way through Ronda to get to the other side, and then down the hill right here with all these roundabouts, not existent, but down the hill, meeting this road. This is a national road going to Seville. Let me take you, I really wanted to show you a little bit more of La Maestranza. They have in this museum, they have everything that you want to know about the bullfighting history as such, and also all the famous bullfighters from way, way back in the day. There we go. And it's still active today. You go to Ronda during Easter, don't think you're going to get a ticket for this establishment. Don't think you're going to get a ticket at all to see a bullfight in La Maestranza. Make sure that if you're planning a trip to Ronda during Easter, you want to see a bullfight in the authentic place where bullfighting originated in Spain. Not saying that it didn't already exist in Portugal and elsewhere. Is this one, it is booked out for at least 10 years in advance. So it's pretty, let's say, it's not even cheap if you get a ticket 10 years in advance. To my understanding, that is still in existence today. Very, very fancy people go here, and then Ronda becomes like the place to be seen, to be and be seen. Now we were inside. I do, however, want to try and take you outside, because the structure itself is also something to behold. The entire interior of the arena is the museum. So people wanted to have their cars blurred out, or what is going on here? Okay, I can't get closer. But the entire perimeter of the arena, all these windows you see down here is the museum. So in actual fact, what you're doing is you're going in one side, going around in a circle, coming out the other side, and then you've had your tour. And of course, they picked up on this American thing that, you know, on the way out, you pass a gift shop, as you do. Sorry, needed a sip there. And then here, this was not here from when I was, but they've added an open air theater, which is beautiful. And if you're afraid of heights, are you going to take us there? Thank you. If you're afraid of heights, that's you looking at the stage. But when you turn around, without the band, but look at that view. Including sunset, my goodness. Wow. So yeah, that is amazing. I think these kind of settings are just magnificent. And you can see the whole thing is built on a rock. If I have missed something, I apologize. I hope that you can tell me in the chat if you want to see something a little bit more closer up. I want to take you down here. Let me see if I can. We'll take our little man and go to the Mirador de Cuenca. And hopefully we can see that beautiful Roman structure from the other side. There's a 3-star Michelin restaurant on the side of the cliff. I'm just making sure that I know which cliff side I'm on. Yeah, I'm on this side of the cliff. And the 3-star Michelin restaurant is right here. That is fantastic. Well worth the visit. It is tiny, it is inconspicuous. You would have to go from up here down many, many steps until you reach the restaurant. It's just a very inconspicuous little door. It's not as if you're like, oh, look at me, I'm going to a 3-star Michelin restaurant. No, it's not. It is tiny. You get all the dishes that are very, very local to the area, with all the ingredients local to the area in that place. I would say for me today, it's not affordable. Back then, it wasn't as if I was in a Michelin-starred restaurant, especially not a 3-star. And let me tell you, the food rocks. You don't feel like you're looking under a morsel of a salad, you know, underneath a salad leaf. You're not being inundated with information about what chef did in the kitchen. They are there to serve you, help you, introduce you to anything you're not familiar with, and it tastes delicious, you know. I mean, if chef wants to tell me what he did in the kitchen, please feel free to do so. But I just find that sometimes these places, they get a little out of hand. You're looking at a spoon with another little thing, and on top of that spoon are 3 items, and you have like a 10-minute explanation about what you're going to put in your mouth. Yeah, that's not this kind of place, but they have a fabulous, fabulous reputation. Unfortunately, I can't get much closer. But yeah, pretty spectacular. And now it is just pouring water. Can we go around a little bit more? And there we go. But isn't it amazing? Because all these homes here, they're actually homes. People live here and they put up with the influx of tourists in such a small space, and they do it with such grace. I love it. Now, another super duper attraction, if you're a speed freak like me, hang on a second. What is this? Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this. Up the stairs and down the stairs to another piazza. This is like a walking roller coaster ride along the gorge. Wow. I wonder if our little man can take us there. This was not my reality. Look at this. Oh, look at what they've done. Wow. I'm seeing this for the first time. Oh, give me my ice water and I'll be like a Capricorn. Up there, down there. And it looks like nobody is there. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, okay. My heart. Right, what I wanted to also show you is if we go back out, make sure I get my bearings, because I probably tilted the globe to where my mind has to reverse everything. Yeah, any of you speed freaks, and I call myself, you know, they call us petrol junkies or pedal to the metal. Let me see if I can find it, because we have a Formula One racetrack up here. It's privately owned, and you can go to it, and guess who's been there? And it's a lot of fun. It's unaffordable now. Let me make sure that I get this right so I don't waste your time. Unaffordable now, but everybody that wants to, I was close. Everybody that wants to not do the drive, we have a helicopter service just in the back of where I live. I used to live actually where I saw the helicopter land, in a beautiful 5-star golf resort, and they'll take you to Circuito Ascari. It was by a Dutch, I don't know if it's still owned by a Dutchman, but he was into speed racing. I think he was in Formula One or even into design of Formula One race tracks. I'm not entirely sure about his history. I used to know it, I don't remember it now. But this is a gated community, and I don't know how old, how new these images are, but it doesn't look like it's changed much from when I was there last. It was supposed to become a place where they were going to build homes, so that you owned a home, you had your racing car or whatever, you had all that stored, and they, instead of having a stable of horses like many of the developments here on the coast have, what you would find here is that you would have the professional mechanics, the upkeep, the right ventilation, air conditioning, circumstances for your car, own your property, come here. This is a rich man's playground. And here's the gate. So from Ronda, it's just like maybe a 30-minute drive, no more. But here's the gate, and you have to be registered at the gate to get in, clearly. We're talking the likes of, let me just make sure I get that right. The Bentleys, the Maseratis, Lamborghinis, the high-end Porsche. I know Porsche is high-end, but the high-end Porsche, Ferraris, and anything else that is mad enough to build their supercars. This garage, so you can't come in here without them knowing that you're coming. Super secure. This garage here, if that is still a garage, there's two. It's like a paddock coming in here, is full of toys, supercar toys. It's like a candy shop. You just can't. It's irresistible. I mean, I love these kinds of things. I used to be an avid Formula One goer, participator, especially when they were in Barcelona. Jerez de la Frontera also has a track. I used to go there. I used to go there in December for all their practice sessions. Yeah, I think I've had too many of them fumes, and that's why I am the way I am today. But it is fantastic. And you can also take your private supercar. You don't have to go there necessarily and use what they have in stock, but you can take your private supercar and play around. And this is a fully fledged Formula One track. I don't think they will ever become an official Formula One track, but I've been spinning around this track quite a bit in their cars with them as drivers. So they have their drivers there as well, and they will take you, show you their paces. And of course, you can have a fabulous, refreshing meal in their clubhouse right here. But this place, don't mess. Don't mess. They mean business right here. This whole thing somewhere right here. So they have their paddock, but in here, this is all on the top, but it's all underground. I don't think my little man is going to take us there. Oh, I won't. No, he didn't. He did! Ah! Oh, wow. Sandy said something. Super rich. Insanely rich people. Yes. Look at this. He took us down. I don't believe it. That's great. So here you have, look, you see, everything here is underground. That is the surface. And then you also have accommodation where you can hang out, spend the weekend and everything else. And then you have the clubhouse area, fantastic food over there. Yeah. And then here, oh, how close can we get? Can we get closer? And then here you have little paddocks, service stations. They give you the entire kit and caboodle. You are strapped up, geared up, clothed. There is security. The minute somebody goes on track, they have their own fire rescue systems. Everybody's on standby, even for a single car out there. It is absolutely wild. And I was so surprised that somebody would, this is from a private owner. So I was very, very surprised that somebody would actually do this. And yeah, it's a thing. I don't know if that bored anybody, but I wanted to show you that Ronda is not just about medieval towns. So, Robert. Oh, there are no orchid houses. These people, I'm telling you, they're not doing anything for the environment except, playing with cars, toys, and adding to the pollution. But you see here, there we go. This is the plotting of the land in the back for properties. I don't know I don't know how old this image is. I don't download Google Earth. I don't want it to take up too much memory on my desktop. So I don't have the feature to go back and do the dates. Wrong. I lie. 21. This is the 15th of March, 21. The date is actually at the bottom of the screen, not at the top, as what I was used to. So this is pretty recent and not much has changed. They haven't sold any property. Okay. But yeah, that was the plan up here. Develop it further, have your supercar, have your mechanics, etc. Something there for everybody. Now, I actually checked to see if I, by this time in my life, have an Orchid Society close to me. No, I would have to go to Murcia, which is about a 5 hours drive from where I'm at, or up to Valencia, which is about 7 to 8 hours, if not 9, or to Madrid. No Orchid Societies here, but my goodness, I did find that one candidate His terrace is called the Orchid House. He lives in Torremolinos, which is about, well, if I drive slowly, 45 minutes from where I'm at. And I have to say, yeah, Orchid House, he's got a lot of orchids. He's from the Ukraine. From what I could see, there was an article about him in a newspaper once. And I thought, Orchid House, wait, what? And it turns out he's a private collector. No, I'm not going to hook up with anybody. I'm nuts about orchid, but I like my space. So yeah, here we go. So that was Ronda. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you. So here's our Grazalema, our park right in the back here. Okay, still pretty extensive. Everything that you see that kind of slopes into the Sierra de Nieves. No, I'm not. I'm down on the coast. We'll go back down without doxing my exact location, but we'll go back down. Let me take you one more time. I want to show you something, because once you get through Ronda, it's not like we're done yet. I almost missed that part. Oh, wow. It's not like we're done yet. Let's see if this road will give us something. No, but this road will right here. Because even the drive out of Ronda, or depending on where you're coming from, back to Ronda, it's pretty spectacular. So let's see if my little lane here is not going to fail me. Because as you look left, as we drive, the whole thing starts to open up and you can see it's very country. Are you fronteras? No, I'm not. No, I am here on the Costa del Sol, about 20 minutes from Marbella and 15 minutes from Estepona. IWI barcode. Hello, welcome. It is so nice to see you. I haven't seen you before. I appreciate that you're here. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Are you from the area? Because I'm seeing your avatar. That looks like a beautiful kind of lake, maybe a reservoir. I've never been to the Canary Islands. Can you believe it? There we go. My little lane doesn't fail me. Check this out. Right here, that is the cliff edge of Ronda. Will you let me go a little bit further in? Let's go. Let's go for a little bit of a trip like we did in the Botanical Gardens of Australia. Really, do I have to hit that arrow? Come on. The thing is, if I drag and drop, it changes the view, the angle, and that freaks me out, because then I don't know where Street View is going to take me. But I think once we get past these trees, we're going to have our money shot. Money shot. Hold your beer. I'm going to get out of the car. I need a picture. Look at that. So you see up here are the houses. That's the second half of Ronda right there. This is everything that we've been looking at. And if I go further and further along the road, we will also recognize just how steep that whole thing is. It's pretty dangerous, I would say, but spectacular. And then you can see how the agriculture is around. A lot of olive trees of beautiful oils and everything come from here, be it soaps. It's just wonderful. And this appears to have been taken in spring. If I'm still on a page, no, it's taken the date away. But yeah, this looks very like spring, because again, it gets so cold here. Let me check. Oh, surprising. No, I'm from the Canary Islands. Here we have a special tradition of growing orchids, especially Stanhopea as well. Welcome. I appreciate it. I have one Stanhopea. Yes, and I'm very, very jealous, because you have that subtropical climate. You don't get down to the temperatures where I'm at the moment. I feel like I'm in the Yeti country at the moment. I'm supposed to be on the Costa del Sol, and I'm in the Costa de la Lluvia, coast of rain. Welcome. I so appreciate that you're here. I hope when the stream ends that you would leave me a comment, and so that maybe we can also touch base, because I would love to know about your orchid collection. And it's a bit difficult to interact on a live stream unless I can drop you a link and you want to come up and have a talk. You can tell us all about it. That's what this is all about. It's interactive. And normally I jibber jabber orchids. Wow. I love sugarcane. I usually talk about orchids, but I do interact that with places that I've been to or places that I know, or I try to also share places that nobody's been to that I am aware of, and then also go look for new orchid species and check out how the environment is. Sugarcane and tropical lotus. So, oh, that is awesome. I don't even dare want to ask you what island you're on, but I hope that your crop is growing well. I really do. And I think we all know what that means. I hope it's growing well. If you had said bananas, that would have scared me a little bit. I would be a little bit more concerned, but sugarcane, you're fine. So yeah, you can tell that these roads, they don't really take them seriously. But isn't that amazing? Let me see if I can take you back out and make sure that I don't ignore the comments. Arangus Mr. City Eye. Oh my goodness, Cattleya schilleriana, Miltonia morelliana. Do you have bloomed your Cattleya schilleriana? Barcode? I don't know how to say your name. IWI barcode. Because I have a schilleriana as well, and I have as yet to bloom her. I would love for you to leave a comment after the live stream. I really would appreciate it. I would love to know more about your collection. I feel very isolated here in my area. I feel like I'm the only one. So you can see that I'm like, oh, really? I would love to know when yours bloom and yeah, all of that fun stuff. I thought maybe you had come over from Twitch, but I can see that you're here from YouTube. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to see you. Welcome. A ver. I can see. Yeah, okay, that's good to hear that she's floriferous. Yeah, your Cattleya is small as well. Yeah, that's what mine is as well. Meanwhile, I've had her for 4 years, so she should get her act together. Maybe she's getting her act together and I'm not sure what I need to do for her to do so. So let's just see as we turn the corner. Let's get on a main road because the vistas coming out of Ronda are spectacular. Of course. Can we do a jump up and down peekaboo thing? No, like maybe over here. Hang on a second. Hold your horses. Woohoo! We'll go behind the taxi. It's nice to see that they blur out the number plates. That is awesome. I really want to do vlogging on the road with you guys, but I'm not sure about the laws in Spain. Let's do a little bit of a craning our neck. Still not. We may have to go down. But you see this curve? It is so long and round, this whole curve, as you leave the mountain and go down. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Let's see if it's right here. Sorry, I hope I'm not making anybody dizzy, but it's just impressive. When you've come through the rocky crevices of a long trip from Seville, because you're going through these mountains right here, coming around and around where we were earlier, and you come out into this another stretch of road. Yeah, Ronda is going to elude me. It's a shame because it is quite impressive. It's like you're coming up to a kind of a fortress type thing. It's like looking at the Alhambra, which might be a place where we can go next. If you're interested, let me know in chat. If you would like me to take you to Granada, there are some orchid species up there as well. Maybe the similar ones that we have looked at earlier today, possibly very similar because the climate is similar, but it is very much harsher, let's just say. It's more inland. It's also not as affected by the Mediterranean Sea from the left, if my directions are right. Just moving around, I'm telling you, it's doing my head in. But here's the reservoir that we were at normal before, and then we've got our Parque Grazalema again. Sorry for that. This mouse, I tried to change the sensitivity and it's, yeah, I'm not being able to handle it properly. That is our vista. And that is where all these beautiful blooms come from that we saw earlier. Makes me happy to be back in Spain. Very, very happy. What I missed in the United States where I used to live when I was there was the stimulus to the eye. I don't know about you, but if you're in an area that gives you a stimulus where, be it a color of a bloom, be it the contrasting shapes or the colors of the shrubbery mixed in with terrain, mixed in with, you know, it's steep there, it's flat here, mixed in with the different architecture, the different styles you see, whether it's a balcony, a flat wall, tiles, etc., etc. I don't know about you, but I'm a visual person. Serapias. We'll go to the Alhambra. I hear you, Fernanda. Thank you so much. I have a very big. How can I avoid contamination? It says caracoles in English is snails. Hi, excuse me, please. Hydrogen peroxide 3% against snails. Never a problem. Well, no, won't say never. We don't generalize things in the orchid hobby, but that'll take snails fast. That'll take them out. And you're safe. You can get them at the pharmacy. And if you have chinos, where you're at, tienda de chinos, they also have the right hydrogen in their shops, the Chinese shops. Please come back. Let me know in the comments if you would like to have a chit chat one day. I am open to having you on the panel one day if you would like to show us your collection and talk about it. You are very, very welcome. Bienvenido. Agradezco tu paciencia. Gracias, gracias. Yes, so the visual part for me is absolutely fundamental. And where I was in Dallas, I was dying. My brain was dying. My mind was going crazy with the monotony of what my eyes were seeing. I was not down in San Antonio where the beautiful terrain is, with the different elevations as such. Everything was the same. The buildings were the same. The shops would repeat the same. I don't mind. Small collection, large collection, one orchid. I would really, really, you know, you can always check my description. There's an email me. I'm not trying to put pressure on you. I just want you to know that that's what this kind of a live stream is all about, okay? Muchas, muchas gracias. I hope you have a great evening. Y felices fiestas. So everything was the same. And you know what? In the 3 years I lived in Dallas, I did not see a single rainbow. Not one. And that is not because I was working all the time. When I would walk my dog or whatever, I couldn't work for 7 months when I was in the United States because I didn't have my employment card. Bye, hasta luego. And it drove me crazy. The first time I saw a rainbow when I was back in Spain, I cried. I mean, I had a lot of reasons to cry, but I cried because the color, I just couldn't. It was sapping everything out of me. I used to walk my dog and there was no color. The minute the trees would bloom, a wind would come and rip the blooms off. It was so depressing. I was dying. I was literally dying for visual stimuli. I come back here, I go to Google Earth and I see all this and I'm like, wow. But you know, that was just me. Dallas was like that. San Antonio is beautiful. Austin is beautiful. So it was just where I happened to end up. Anyway, does anybody have any questions? I've been babbling on for a long time. I'm not entirely sure if anybody had any potty breaks, could stop around on our trip long enough to get out of the car, have a potty break, take pictures and do all that fun stuff, get your souvenirs, etc. I hope that you enjoyed this live stream, because if you don't have any questions, you do, Robbie? Go ahead, Robbie. I just hope I'm saying your name correctly. You do? You have a question? Please type away. We have a 15-second lag. So there'll be a bit of, please go ahead. Do you want to come up? You're welcome to come up. I can drop a link in the chat. You're welcome to hop on. Oh, let me take you down to the coast while I wait. We can do that. A ver, let's see where I'm at. Make sure that I don't take you to the wrong time. Go ahead. Go ahead. Ask the question. I'm looking. I'm now just passing the time. just to make sure I don't miss anybody, cut anybody off, and so that I don't bore people with an empty, like an empty, empty space type of thing. Go ahead, ask your question, please. Por favor, pregúntame. Let me correct my map here again, because otherwise I'll just go bonkers. All right. So this is the town that would be, well, it's not exactly nearest me, but it's the biggest town. Very, very beautiful. We're not going to do a complete tour in here, but there just so happens to be, and please don't be mad at me, but in this town there is an orchidarium. You can see it right here. Don't be mad at me that I haven't ever gone and taken you here. My first trip would be to take the Orchid Ninjas there. I just haven't had the opportunity to go. Let me put it way down. Let me just put it like that. I am pH adjusting down from 8+ tap water to 6.3 or so. That sounds about right. And you are in leca or with a reservoir or wet dry cycle in organic? That would be my question. So there's a beautiful orchidarium, because what they're trying to do with Estepona is make it the plant destination for the Costa del Sol. Well, I think Ronda will always have that spot, but at least they're trying it. It's really, really pretty, because they've just created this plaza. What am I talking about? It was closed for the pandemic. My daughter told me about it, actually, because this all happened while I was away. And I cried when I saw this. You did a CalMag and CalMag yesterday with a reservoir with pumice and self-watering. Yep, that sounds about right. That's fine. That's fine. 6.3. Depending how long your reservoir is going to stay full, you can also up it to about 6.5 next time if you're seeing deficiencies, if you're seeing anything yellow happening, or you're not sure that your growths are getting enough. It's easily corrected, and then you can up your pH to 6.5 without any problem. 6.3 is fine though. Okay, so you noticed prior to the addition that you tested the pH in the pot, it was up over. That can happen. That can happen over time. But that's not a problem with a flush, it's done. That's correct. You see, I'm reading your mind. That's absolutely fine. It's good. Are you worried? Is something happening with your orchid or orchids that you're concerned about, or you just want confirmation? But yeah, this orchidarium is absolutely beautiful. Very beautiful landscape, and I can tell you, if I lived in this apartment right here, we'd be there every day. The last time I was there, they had a maximum in bloom, and I was like, yeah, me too. And they had an filament bloom, and I thought, you see, when you've got controlled climate, you guys, your filament was in bloom so much sooner. So these cupolas are obviously all air spaces, and it's got a massive waterfall in there as well. I will take you there one day, but Orchid Ninjas get first dibs, and then we'll open that video up to everybody. But I think I have to do something for the Orchid Ninjas. I just have to get my shillingis out. So I'm just waiting for Rowie to let me know if he just needed confirmation. Yes, I decided to push it down further to about 5.8, but I see again that can happen over time, because the pumice can take on certain properties, and also depending on the water quality. It's fine. Mine does that too. I can pH down and it'll go up to 7, and I sometimes do that on purpose, because that is the automatic pH swing that people talk about. Sometimes they pH at 5.8 because they want the micronutrients to be absorbed, and then they pH at 6.3 or 6.5 because they want the macronutrients to be absorbed. If your pot is doing that, I am sorry that the audio is terrible. How is that possible? Has my audio been terrible all this time. How is that possible? I've got green on everything. Oh my goodness, my heart sinks. I am so sorry if the audio was awful all this time. It's Roby, it is absolutely fine. The readings of your pots are just fine, okay? There's nothing to be concerned about. Oh, just let me know. My voice is distorting. Okay. That's it better? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe because I was moving back and forth in my chair. I apologize. Oh, gosh. I hate it. I hate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Because I'm trying to look at my audio bars and they are not showing me anything. Oh, well, that's a relief. I'm really glad. Thank you. I do apologize for that. So, Roby, if I still have your attention. Oh, okay. Everybody, huh? Well, I'll only know what happened on the way when I watch this back. Yikes. Well, I'll know not to be moving in my chair too much then. I do apologize. Yikes. Sorry, anybody wearing headbuds? Horrible. And you need to flush every single time your reservoir is empty. Thank you, Sanya. Appreciate your graciousness. Thank you. You need to flush every time your reservoir is empty before you put anything else into the pot, Roby. Yeah, you don't need to flush in between. If your orchids are in active growth and you're doing what you're doing, then that reservoir should be up and absorbed within 7 days minimum. At least within 7 days, after which you flush and then you put in whatever else you need to put in. And if it is absorbed after 3 days, you need to flush and then put whatever else in. So your margin is when your reservoir is empty. In my case, my reservoirs don't empty, they stay empty because of my conditions, all right? It may over time, it can take years. By that time you're repotting. So it can take years depending on what you're using. I mean, you said you're using pumice. So if you store your pumice in water, it will stabilize over time. If you store your pumice dry to then use it, it will take much, much longer. If you don't store your pumice and you're always starting with a new batch, well, it'll stay the way it is right now. I think it may have to do with a transmission. My screen does not have a clear image from the beginning, but oh my gosh. This is Estepona, Sandy. This is the town that is nearest to where I'm at. So it used to be a tiny little fishing village, and this is the orchidarium. Say that one more time. If you are storing your pumice wet, it will correct itself over time faster than if you are storing your pumice dry, which it will never correct itself because by the time you use your pumice in the pot, that is the time that it will be wet and that's when it starts to correct itself. But with a 2 or 3 or 4 years of the orchid being in the pot, you are starting to repot again. And that is not the time frame for the pumice to correct itself. If you save your pumice and recycle it and then put it into water, it will correct itself over time. But it'll take a long time. It takes a long time. For me, I just go by 5.8, and depending if I'm doing a CalMag soak, I go by 6.5 because I want the nutrients to get hit hard, quick. So I go with the pH spot on when I'm doing a soak. If I fill the reservoir with a nutrient solution, I go by 5.8. Sure, I can zoom in and I can go back down to the plaza. Let's see, let's go here. There we go. This is the entrance. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Try and keep it wet. Now, when you store it wet, you need to refresh that water. Pretty much exactly the same way what I mentioned about leca. You have to refresh the water often. I mean, especially with pumice, which is so much more porous, you need to be flushing, you need to change the water out probably every single day for at least 10 days, every single day. And I'm not exaggerating because it's going to leach a lot of stuff. Once a day for the first 10 days, and then just leave it for a week and then refresh the water. Yeah, I know. You're going to see it's going to get murky. All right. And that is normal. But you will see the water looking a little murky at the beginning, and bit by bit, the murkiness should go. But pumice will never, ever lose its murkiness. You want to grow coconuts? The next time we go. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Oh, coconuts, stop. Yeah. Yes. I'm telling you that pumice, the water will always be murky. I had pumice cleaned and everything and stored in water for more than 12 months. And it was just a small batch. And afterwards, finally, I used it with my Dendrobium hibiki because I'm like, I'm done with this. It was still icky, it had still got a murky look to it. But then again, so does leca, but pumice is extreme. So you're not doing anything wrong, okay? Your water stays murky, it's all okay. So don't worry about that. Just make sure that you change that water out a lot. I do actually, depending on what it is that you want to do, Barcode. If you want to go to the Orchidarium, I do recommend it. If you want to hang out in Estepona, like just chill out, that's fun too. Yeah, okay, please do that. That's fun too. There's a lot to do in Estepona. I'm not a big fan of anything that goes on here, to be honest, but there's plenty to do. I don't know what your age is. Now, the Orchidarium, of course, you know, orchids bloom at different times, so make sure that you look at their webpage. I don't know if I can, let me put this in here. I don't know if you, whoa, start again. You check their webpage before you go, so that you know pretty much they should give you a time frame of what is in bloom. Here's the link to their webpage. You can see what's in bloom and take it from there. But yeah. So here we go. That's the coast. Plenty of fun. We got our little fishing port. And we also have a bull ring. Why not? Because that's what we are. We're in Spain, right? Now the bull ring is not exactly used for bullfights anymore. It is actually more used for concerts. Sometimes there will be the odd bullfight, but it's more for flea markets or concerts and stuff like that. So does anybody have any more questions? Because I will otherwise call it a night. What function? Thank you. I don't know that function. What function, Barcode? Yeah. Oh, wow. You're very, very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. So my hangout from Estepona, the patio, is in this area. Bel Air. Not to the Prince of Bel Air. I used to live up here. Lots of good memories up there. Now, very, very painful memories. I used to be my golf course right here. And they just played the Ladies European Tour final on the Champion golf course attached to my golf course, which is all one big club right here, going into the boonies. So if you ever hit the AP7, look right and wave. All right. If there's nothing else, I want to say thank you to all of you for joining me. Tomorrow we'll have something else in pedo. I'm not entirely quite sure, but we will be 2 hours later than we were today. I'm not entirely sure where I'm headed with tomorrow's stream. I have a few puzzle pieces. I like to stick to a direction, but maybe we'll just do a few puzzle pieces and see who comes in. And if anybody wants to come up and join me as a guest, Iberian Peninsula time, not including Portugal and the Canary Islands. Thank you, Sandy, so much. Thank you. I'm not going to get choked up, but I appreciate that comment a lot. Thank you very, very much. Okay. You're very welcome, Roby. I'm so happy you were here. Now, if anybody thinks, when you see the notification going out and you want to come up and join me, especially Barcode, I'm interested to pick your brain. I know that, it's pitch black where you are as well, but, eventually, if there's something that you want to show us, you know how we can do it. And Barcode is in Twitch as well. Hey! So it's Iwi Barcode. That is awesome. Well, Barcode, you're my first Twitch comment. I appreciate that. Welcome. Fantastic. You're everywhere. Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you. Right. Oh, it's brilliant to have you. Really appreciate it. Everybody, Fernanda, Robert, I appreciate you. Michael, for hopping on and off, in and out. Iwi Barco, bienvenido. Thank you for being here as well. Roby, so much. And also Sandy. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. Joy, my number 5. If you're still around. If not, yes, that would be awesome. Iwi, send me pictures. I would appreciate that. Definitely. My email is always in the description on my YouTube channel. And I do apologize for the sound issues. And that is probably because we're having terrible weather. And I will listen to this back once it has processed to assess what is going on. But we are in the middle of a storm. The storm is not letting us go. It has got us in our grip. The reminders will go out 12 hours pretty much before the stream starts. It's going to be there. I promise. Ciao, Roby. I so appreciate you. Good night, everybody. Sí, entiendo. Iwi Barcode, entiendo.